Hello and welcome. Glad to have you here. As I said at the end of the last video, we'll be going through the next poem in my book, which is called Walk Out the Door Together. And as I'm sure you can tell from the title of the video, this is a poem that is about the divorce of my parents and kind of the beginning stages of that and how it affected me and stuff. Just kind of this was my first ever attempt of writing about that at all. So it just kind of reflects some of my initial thoughts and feelings about that and how, just trying to hold on to some hope. As I said in my recent video about my poem Focus of the Moon that I wrote a little bit before this, I mentioned how having some sort of hope to hold on to through a hard time can be like an important thing to help get you through it. And so as this was starting to happen, I was trying to have a little bit of hope going into this obviously tough time for me, dealing with my parents' separation when I was in high school. And so, yeah, this was trying to have a little bit of a hopeful perspective with this whole situation early on. So as we usually do here, I will start by reading the poem here, and then afterwards we'll go into a little bit more of the details about this poem. And I know I kind of already said some about it, but we'll go into more of the like exact story behind it and what specific lines in here mean to me and everything. So we'll just get started with me reading it to you. Here is Walk Out the Door Together. When your colors came together, you created a connection with the purple of your eyes and his that are so green. Your colors became brighter, and you gave each other your protection, bringing vibrancy to your skies. And feeling safer than you've ever been, you have such different pasts, but want the same future. Even with the differences you've seen, he loves your purple, and you love his green. Walk through the door together, take off your shoes and hang your coats. Wearing your new matching sweaters, walk into the warmth of home. As your time together ages, your bond becomes a tether. The chambers of your hearts have been constricted, your eyes can't handle all this weather. Through the wind and rain that you've endured, your colors start to fade, your purple now a dull lilac, and his green a lightened jade. There's nothing left that you can say, and now you will. Walk out the door together, put on your shoes and grab your coats, wear them over matching sweaters, walk out into the cold alone. You walk out into the cold alone, walk out into the cold alone. But don't forget the love you've shown, even though you're now alone. Walk out into the cold alone, walk out into the cold alone. And though this love you have outgrown, just know you're not alone. Find yourself a shade of yellow, and he will find his red. So that was Walk Out the Door Together. And as always, I hope that you found something that you could enjoy about this poem or just liked it overall in some way, or if you've gone through anything similar to me in any way and there's something you can personally connect with. I write this stuff as I always say that I wrote this stuff initially just for me, but the reason I decided to publish it and also share it on here on my YouTube and Spotify and everything is so that people who may have gone through similar things, that this stuff I write can be helpful to them in some way and be some sort of moon or hope to guide you through your own struggles, or just be something to bring you some sort of comfort. And even if like you don't have some sort of specific connection to it, I just hope that it can at least maybe be interesting to you in some way, or that there are some things about it that you can maybe be inspired by or connect with in some sort of way, whatever way it may resonate with you. And as always, I would invite you to share any of your personal thoughts about this, anything you specifically liked about it, or any of your own personal connections to it down in the comments. So now I'll kind of get into sharing the more of the story and meaning behind this. So as I said, this poem was the first one I wrote when my parents like were separating. And although that of course is like a very hard thing to deal with, and later on I do write more about this topic, and some of it's not quite as happy and hopeful as this one tries to be, because I mean, of course, that was something that I very much struggled with and impacted me a lot at the time, but was really trying to not let it overwhelm me and trying to stay positive about it all. And that's what this poem was kind of trying to do. So in that first stanza or section of it, where it starts when your colors came together, you created a connection with the purple of your eyes and his that are so green. So my mom's favorite color is purple and my dad's is green. So I used those two colors to kind of represent them. And so that part's kind of talking about them in their early stages of their relationship, just meeting, and when they would have been dating and eventually gotten married and all that stuff, like the early stages of their time together. And they had some sort of connection, and they helped each other to become, I guess, better versions of themselves, and made each other happy, and all these good things that should come from a relationship. And a line that I particularly like from here is, you have such different pasts, but want the same future. For me, that's always been an interesting thing to think about, like how this, person that you maybe one day have a relationship with, they never knew any of your past self, just who you are when you meet them and the rest of your life after that. And I don't know why, but that's just always been a really fascinating thing to me. And that idea that you could have such different pasts and both have lived these completely separate lives, but then come together and want to have the same future together, it's just, I don't know, that's such a crazy idea to me. And so reflected that there. And then I think an important part after that again is then that even with these differences that they've seen, even though one is purple, one is green, kind of representing just how they are these such different people and their own unique selves, that even though they have all these differences, they still want to come together as one and love each other's differences. So then that first, the second part there, but the first of that repeated walk out the door together kind of part, the first time it says walk through the door together, and it's representing them walking into this house together, into this relationship, and starting their life together, and how they are creating sort of the beginnings of their lives together, and eventually with me and my siblings as their kids, and walk into this warmth of home, as I say, and everything being such a positive thing for them. And the third section there, it starts to show the decline in things, how, as it says there, as your time together ages, your bond becomes a tether. So the longer they've been together, the more that their relationship becomes a negative thing to them, and they feel just stuck in this. And that's something that my parents had expressed before, that they sort of felt that they began to not be able to feel like they could be truly 100% themselves in the relationship anymore, and that they, I guess, kind of stuck together for the sake of us and trying to make things work and everything, but it just didn't. And over time, as I say, that bond became a tether. And so then later on, I say that through the wind and rain that you've endured, your colors start to fade. Your purple now a dull lilac, and his green a lightened jade. And that kind of shows how, over time, trying to force this to continue working and trying to stay together, it took away from who they each were individually, and what once was this vibrant purple and green are now turning into like more dull, less saturated kind of colors, and they're losing their lives both literally and figuratively, like over time, not feeling as much themselves and who they want to be as much. So then, as of course eventually happened, that it got far enough that they ended up having to separate, and so then it goes into that part that kind of reflects that second section now in the fourth, but of course now saying walk out the door together. This home that we've created as a family is now being split apart, and they're walking out that door. They're ending this life we all had together as a family, and now those shoes and coats that they brought in and set down, they're picking back up to take with them into the next stage of their life. And they now put on their coats back over these sweaters that they had together. They're now like covering up this past they had together, and now walk out into the cold alone. And so then in that final like main section there after that, it's supposed to be kind of specifically directed toward my parents, trying to give them some comfort that even though they are now walking into this cold unknown, kind of starting over in some sort of way, and kind of may feel like they're alone now, just trying to remind them that the love that they've shown each other and us, like their kids, wasn't all for nothing. And I don't want them to forget all of the good that came from their relationship. So that's what I'm kind of talking about there, where I say, but don't forget the love you've shown, even though you're now alone. And then at the end of that, I say, and though this love you have outgrown, just know you're not alone. Just reminding them that even as they go into this new stage of their lives, that me and my brothers will still be there for them, and that they're not alone. We will stick with both of them. We still care very much about both our mom and our dad, and won't let them to feel alone, even as they're now apart from each other. So then that very last two lines where it says, find yourself a shade of yellow and he will find his green. Of course, as I said, that I like referenced my mom and dad as purple and green, with like their own favorite colors. And then, so of course, like the complementary color in like art terms and whatever is, of course, yellow, and then the complementary color of green is red. So just trying to, I guess, sort of reassure them that over time, that hopefully they will find what's truly right for them in life, whether that's some new person or just some new direction in life, and whatever it is, that they will find that that place that they should be in. Because of course it became clear that this relationship isn't what was right for them anymore, and just trying to have some hope that their separation is for a good reason, that they will find where they're truly supposed to be in whatever form that may be. So that's all I have on Walk Out the Door Together. And again, I hope that maybe something I talked about there could connect with you in some way, or just was interesting in some way, hopefully. I guess if you're still here at this point, I guess I didn't bore you too much and there was something you could connect with in some way. But anyway, next time we'll be going into my next poem in the book, which is called Home Forever, and is kind of on a similar theme to this, kind of continuing some similar thoughts in a way, but a little bit of different stuff. But we'll have to wait until next week for that one. But anyway, thank you very much for being here and watching the video. And as always, just remember that we're all broken and we're just arranging the pieces. Thank you.